ولد 81 عندما يجمعهم اللهم إني أسألك بأسمائك الحسنى 99 أن تحسن لي الختام وتتوفاني على الإيمان.
So he is thinking of a very simple example. He said to them that I will explain to you that on your hands recorded in the Arabic the numbers 81 and 18. And so when I gather them, I remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's 99 names because they add up to be 91. 81 and 18 is 99. So I say, oh Allah, by your 99 names that I know, and he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his mercy.
ولكن كل منا ينظر إلى يده هكذا، كل ينظر يده هكذا. حاليا في مصر بيعملوها هكذا عشان رابعة فشالوا الخمسة واحد، ولكن يقول لك هذه هي رابعة. نسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يفرج عن كربهم. ستر على رسول الله نقول له لا هذا ما يقصد رابعة ولا خامسة، هذا يقصد معنى أكبر من ذلك. يقصد بهذه النظرة يبكي لأنه يقول تعالى في سورة الذاريات وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون. فهذا رجل يقرأ كتاب نفسه، عارف نفسه، نظرته لها فيها عبرة، نظرة فيها عبرة.
And so to continue to explain that him looking at his hand and being 5 fingers, and sometimes the Sheikh alluded to the 4 fingers, what is happening in Egypt with the Rabia symbols. But this person, he then one is explaining about this person, is saying this person is an insightful person because he is thinking about the creation of himself, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the rightly guided ones in the Quran, Surah Al-Dariyat, that he says, and in their own creation do they not ponder. So this person who is crying and look at his fingers, he is definitely pondering about his own creation and his own state and where he is coming and going to.
قصة حياتك في هذه اليد. قصة حياتك تبدأ بالميلاد، وميلادك بيد الله عز وجل، وما تحمل الأنثى ولا تضع إلا بإيه؟ إلا بإذنه، إلا بعلمه. ما في امرأة تولد إلا بإذن الله وبعلمه سبحانه وتعالى.
So your story, the story of your life, represented by these 5 fingers, begins with your birth, and as mentioned, one of the knowledge of the unseen is your, in terms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knowing what is contained within the womb and at what point you will be born in. This is the beginning of your journey.
فالميلاد هو الفيزا، تأشيرة الدخول للدنيا. متى ستتنفس أول نفس أكسجين الذي يعلمه هو الله تبارك وتعالى. الأطباء قد يقول لك مرتك ستولد بعد أسبوع ولا 10 أيام، تولد بكرة، أو ممكن بكرة تولد تعود أسبوع 10 أيام. فالميلاد يحدد ساعته بالدقيقة والثانية الله تبارك وتعالى.
So your moment of birth, at which when you come to this world, into this world, and you are given a visa meaning that now you have a permit to stay here. The precise moment only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. The doctors might have told you that your wife will be delivering after 10 days and then she delivers tomorrow. And then exactly at what hour and what minute only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And then at what precise moment will that child take his very first breath from this life, which is his initiation into coming to this world, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows.
فأنا بدايتي بقرار بيد الله سبحانه وتعالى وقرار الميلاد.
So the beginning of my journey in this life is first and foremostly by the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of the moment I am born.
ونهايتي بالخروج، تأشيرة الخروج اللي بيفرح بها من السيد، تأشيرة الخروج من هذه الدنيا بقرار الموت، وما كان لنفس أن تموت إلا بإذن الله.
And your final stage of your life is given by the moment that you pass away or you leave. And this is where you get an exit visa, as in you're leaving or exiting this world, going to the next world. And this moment of travel, if you like, is only decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is in His knowledge, your entry and your exit.
ميلادي بيد الله ومماتي بيد الله.
So the knowledge of your time of entry and exit are decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
فكيف أعيش ما بين الميلاد والممات لغير الله؟
So one can ask, how can I then live for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if He is the cause of my entry and my exit?
وهذه حقيقة يقينية وقعت، أنا أوريدي أنا مولود. والممات حتمية حقيقية ما فيها ميل. كل الأسئلة في على وجه الأرض ممكن يجاب عليها بكلمة ممكن ما يمكن. هل أقول له يا فلان تتغدى عندي بعد بكرة؟ أقول لك ما يمكن. نروح نطلع بكرة إن شاء الله أنا وأنت نطلع فيشن بدنا صحوة بكرة؟ أقول لك ما يمكن. تيجي تشتري السيارة أو تبيع لي سيارتك ما يمكن. تتزوج ما يمكن. تطلق ما يمكن. ما كله. لكن في سؤال لا يمكن يحتمل كلمة مي أبدا على وجه الأرض. لا يستطيع أحد أن يقول عليه مي أبدا. هل ستموت؟ ما بيقول ما يقول فرشور.
So the beginning of the journey is a reality that we live because all of us here exist already, and we know that we have began our journey, and each of us is at a different stage in their life of that journey. And the end of it, in regards to the end of that journey, every person in this world might be able to say maybe or possibly to any question apart from one, and that question is, are you going to die? You cannot say possibly or maybe to that. Everyone knows that there is definitely an exit or an end to life.
سؤال تجيب عنه بالعربية أكيد وبالإنجليزية for sure. فكيف تتهرب من هذه الحقيقة اللي هي قادمة؟ ممكن الليلة يجيلك، ممكن الليلة يتم الأمر، كل ليلة هذه.
So this question in which in Arabic, English or any other language the answer will be yes, that you will die. If you know that for sure, then how can you be heedless in living your life in a way which is you're not concerned with when that moment of death will come, possibly tonight, tomorrow night, very soon.
فهل نظر أحدنا إلى كفه هكذا وهو يأكل أو يشرب أو يقدم شيء أو يسوق سيارته، يفتح السيارة ونظر إليه تتذكر البداية والنهاية؟ حد منا بينظر هذه النظرة؟
So how many of us, when they look at their palm, when they come to eat or what have you, you look at your palm, how many of us remember that this palm resembles those stages of life in which it has a beginning and an end?
ثم ينظر في هذه ويتأمل في هذه المراحل الخمس ويتدبر. هذه مرحلة الطفولة، ومرحلة الطفولة الطفل من وقت ما يتولد اسمه طفل، وبعدين بعد السبعة صبي لغاية ما يبلغ الحلم.
And how many of us think about the different stages of life that are represented by these 5 fingers, of which the birth, which then goes on to infancy, and that period goes to a period of maybe 7 years, of which then there are youth or adolescence, which then goes to the next stage.
هذه مرحلة التعليم والتشكيل بقى.
So you have that stage which is now in relation to building the foundation and knowledge and putting that sort of important knowledge into the person.
وهذا هو غرس القرآن الكريم في هذه المرحلة.
And this stage is a very important stage in order for that child to learn and acquire the Quran, which is after the infancy.
والطفل يستطيع أن يتكلم 5 لغات.
And any child is able to speak in 5 or more languages.
أنا رأيت بعض الشباب من كم سنة في المسجد هنا كان أخوه كردي عراقي، كردي تركي عراقي، فكان يتكلم اللغة العربية وتعلم الكردية لأن أبوه أصل كردي، وأبوه هنا تزوج ماليزية. لما تزوج ماليزية فتعلم الماليزية من أمه والإنجليزية لغة البلد، فكان يعني كوكتيل من اللغات.
So the Sheikh gives an example that he met a very young boy in which his father was Iraqi Kurd, so he was able to speak Arabic as well as Kurdish, who then married a Malaysian lady, so he was then able to speak Malay, and then followed by the fact that he lived here, he was also able to speak English. So such a young boy already knowing 4 languages.
فنهتم بالنشر في على قد ندرس فيهم القرآن الكريم من هذا الباب.
So it's important for us to be careful with our children and our siblings that there is focus at that stage on the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of memorization and reading and reciting.
تأتي مرحلة البلوغ إذا كان ولد ولا بنت.
And then you have the moment of where that child then or adolescent goes past the stage of puberty.
ولها علاماتها. يمكن 12 سنة يبلغ، 13، 14 لسه، 15 لم يبلغ نعتبره بالغ.
And puberty can vary from child to child, starting at the age of 12, maybe before that. Some at 13, 14, at 15, past 15, and there are signs obviously. Past 15s, even if those signs were not shown, we still say that that child has went past that stage.
يبقى طفل صبي غلام لغاية سنة 15.
So at the age of 15, he's no longer considered like an adolescent.
بعدين نخش مرحلة الشباب.
So then the following stage is called the youth.
أصعب مرحلة مرحلة الشباب.
Which is the hardest, the most difficult stage.
حتى لما يجي يخطب ولا يتجوز يلبس الخاتم في مرحلة الشباب، مش في مرحلة زي ما شايفين الخاتم في مرحلة الشباب.
His Eminence is saying even at this stage, which is the adolescent, which is a difficult stage when he's going to engage, that it corresponds to the same finger as where the ring.
والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول بعثني الله فصدقني الشباب وكذبني الشيوخ.
And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that he was supported by the youth, and he was not supported, or he was rejected, or by those who were older in age.
هذه فترة TNT بوم، مرحلة العنفوان كله والعجب والأبلسة وبناء الشخصية في هذه المرحلة.
So this stage is a very volatile stage. It is when the personality is going to be structured and put together. It's going to be sort of, that person is going to determine who they are.
ومن حفظ شبابه حفظه الله في بقية المراحل.
And whoever safeguards that second stage of youth, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguards him for the rest of his life.
وركعتان يركعهما العبد، يركعهما الشاب لسه في مرحلة الشباب. صلاتك أنت أفضل من 100 صلاة مثل صلاتي أنا.
And know that the youth, for the youth, when they are obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are rewarded multiple times. Then when they are obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at an older age, because of the difficulty that is accompanying that stage.
وإبليس يحشد حشوده ويعد جنوده في المرحلة هذه بالذات. وعمل لك معسكر خاص كان اسمه معسكر ايه؟ قب نسيته؟ معسكر قب فيه البجية، فيه زعرنة الأبالسة، فيه الشياطين القوات الخاصة من أجل الشباب يفشكلهم ويبعدهم عن دينهم في هذه المرحلة.
And knowing that this stage, the second stage, is so important for the future of that person, that obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even becomes a challenge, because shaitan, Iblis, and his forces are going to culminate and gather around this young man or young woman, so that they can influence them to move away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to prostrate. And as we mentioned previously, that there are special forces that are trained, that are the devils in the camp of Qub, that are assigned to those who are starting to pray, or they are new to the Deen.
يا سلام. الشاب، حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، الشاب التائب حبيب الرحمن، والشاب الذي نشأ في طاعة الله من السبعة الذين يظلهم الله بظل عرشه يوم لا ظل إلا ظله. يعني أنت من سبعة المقربين، يعني الفيرست كلاس يوم القيامة، الشاب اللي تعلم الصلاة في شبابه.
And in numerous hadiths, for example, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that the youth who is repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is beloved by Allah. In another hadith, that the youth, that person who we're talking about in that second stage, that when they obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spend that stage in obedience to Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for them a shade on the day of judgment, when there is no shade except His.
أعظم مشهد يصر له الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم ويبتسم في روضته، يبتسم ويسعد في روضته عندما يرى شابا في بلد زي استراليا، الناس حالين يوم السبت في الديسكو وانت قاعد في المسجد الشاب هناك في الباب والكلب في الأماكن المحرمة، وأنت استطعت أن تحطم. إبليس جاء قاعد ورا منك يبعدك لغاية ما عندي عند المسجد، أنت أعطيته له زي محمد على كلاه ولا تيسون، شفطته بوكس بعدته على بنك السر ورا منك، ودخلت المسجد وصليت المغرب وعد درس، الله يباهي الله بك الملائكة. انظروا هؤلاء شبابي اللي بيقولوا لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله وفي استراليا ويحضرون دروس العلم في المساجد ولا يذهبون إلى البابات الكلابات.
And of the things that makes the Prophet ﷺ very pleased with us is seeing the youth that are spending their time in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and away from the matters that displease Him, the sinful matters. Saturday night, for example, tonight we have, alhamdulillah, so many youths here with us in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whilst there are also many more that are in locations that are not pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that are committing the sins, be it gambling or discos or clubs and what have you. And by that person entering into the masjid, he has given a knockout punch to the shaitan, potentially to another suburb. And know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the youth that are here, He is being pleased. He is honouring those youth by mentioning them in front of the angels, saying, "Oh my angels, look at my servants who are in obedience to me," whilst so many around them are not.
فالشاب التائب حبيب الرحمن.
So the youth who repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also beloved by Allah.
والشامبيون اللي انتصر على الشيطان.
And the true champion is the one who overcomes the shaitan.
ثم بعد مرحلة أنا شاب هو 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 30 34 5 كله شباب 39 40 اسطب انتهت مرحلة الشباب.
So if you continue in your age, so we said the first stage is infancy and childhood, and the second stage is the youth after adolescence. So continue in the age from say 15 all the way up to 35 to 40. 40 is now the peak of which you're considered no longer a youth, you're considered an adult, if you like, mature adult.
فهذا بيسموها الفول مان مرحلة الرجولة ل40.
So a full man, in other words, or the peak of those stages, in that you have reached in terms of peak of maturity.
لاحظ طفولة أب شباب أب رجولة أركب الأناريب أرجع مرة ثانية كده. بعد الرجولة ما في بقى بيكبر، بعد الرجولة يرجع لفارس يرجع لورا بقى خلاص مرة ثانية.
So as you can see, it's clear that once you reach that peak in terms of being a full man in maturity, there's no sort of increase after that. There's only one way, which is down, which means that you're going to go on the negative side now.
فعند ال40 هيبدأ بقى ملك الموت يبعث لك فاكسات وإيميلات يقول لك انتبه I'm coming، اللي هو كل شعرة تشيب في على البوست اوفيس هنا في لحيتك أو في رأسك معناها هذه برقية أو فاكس أو إيميل جاي لك من ملك الموت يقول لك استعد أنت خلاص داخل أنا داخل لك.
And so going through that decline, we say generally speaking that the person comes very close to their moment of departure, their moment of death. And the angel of death, it is as if he is sending you notifications, if you like, emails, SMSs, post office mails, if you like. And they are in the form of white hairs or grey hairs. So every grey hair and white hair you might have in your beard or your hair is a message from the angel of death that your time is coming closer and closer.
وقول النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم من جاوز عمره 40 ولم يغلب خيره شره فليتجهز إلى النار.
And in a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that if one of you reaches the age of 40 and his good traits and actions did not overcome his bad traits and character and actions, then let that person start pondering about his place of hellfire.
بعد 40 ولسه لبلبة يا بنت الخايبة.
Imagine that if after the age of 40 that you still have deficiency in your character.
لابد عند 40 ينظر الإنسان لك أوه أنا نازل على خلاص ومن نعمره ننكسه upside down في الخلق يرجع مرة ثانية صغير.
So no doubt, every one of us has to, when reaching that stage, think about which direction they're heading in life, and we all know that it's going closer to the moment of death. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the verse that whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala builds and composes in that cycle, then ultimately there is a decrease for every increase, and there is that moment when every one of us will depart.
يبقى نعد مع بعض طفولة شباب رجولة كهولة ستة الباء شيخوخة.
And so we can say that the 5 are summarized by infancy, childhood, then youth, then full adulthood, fully mature, then starting the aging phase, and then being an elderly.
لاحظ المرحلة الخامسة هذه انفصلت. ليه؟ شوف انفصل. ليه هذا الانفصال؟ الإشارة، ما معنى هذه الإشارة؟ أول ظهره تنى كرمش وابتعد.
Notice how the 5th stage is split from the rest of the stages. One can ponder about this and say this resembles that when a person becomes elderly, that their back becomes crooked and they become shorter and sort of different in physical appearance to the before.
ثم من بعد قوة ضعفا وشيبة. أنت ضعيف صغير ضعف نظر حتى وأنت في الصغر بيمشوا حابة خط العتبة مش هكذا ياخذوه يعلموه المشي، وبرضه هو كبير بيسندوه عشان يعلموه المشي حتى يصل به الحال من هذا الضعف كما كان يقول حفظه وهو صغير بحفظه وهو صغير.
And so if one is to ponder about the weakness of the child in terms of mental ability and physical ability, you would realize that there is also a weakness at an elderly stage of everyone's life in terms of their physical ability, and some of us even in their mental ability. And we say, like as an example, that the child when they're born and learning to walk, initially they're struggling. And then look at an elderly person who potentially is sick and has troubles walking. They have the same issues as that infant child. And just like, for example, the infant child is that they're wearing nappies, some of the elderly